Hello, I'm Pete Brocklehurst and I'm a friend of the Trans Pennine Trail and a volunteer. Today I'm going to be walking from Hyde in Tameside all the way to Stockport, and it's going to take me probably 2.5 hours. I think it's probably about 6 miles, and it's going to go through Denton, Haughton Dale Nature Reserve, and then down to Reddish Vale Country Park. So it's going to be quite an off-road walk, but it's very beautiful. And today it's almost spring. The sun's shining and there's lots of birds around. There's a very gentle breeze blowing, and it's going to be hopefully a great walk, and I'm looking forward to it. And as always, I've got my trusty dog Pepper and a bag of dog treats. So I'm going to set off in a moment. I'm down at the car park at the minute at the bottom of Apethorn Lane, and I'm going to follow the signs for the Trans Pennine Trail down the hill towards the River Tame. I'm going to head down the hill. This section of the TPT takes me directly under the Peak Forest Canal, which goes from Portland Basin in Ashton-under-Lyne over to Marple, I think, where all the locks are. And it's a beautiful section of the canal network in this part of the country. And I think it's technically called an aqueduct because basically there's a bridge underneath where the Trans Pennine Trail runs. Oh, we've just got a train coming past there. There it goes. That's the line that runs between Hyde Central and Woodley, and the train goes underneath the bottom of Apethorn Lane, which is just behind me now. I'm just walking down the path now after I've gone under the aqueduct, and this section of the path is quite rough. It's not tarmac or anything, it's just soil and dirt basically with a few stones. And this section here got washed away about 18 months ago when we had a real bad storm and floods, and it just basically took all the surface away, and there was a big gouge in the surface which was quite dangerous. So we did inform Tameside Council, and it looks like it's been repaired, which is brilliant. So it's not bad, it's quite passable now by bikes and horses and walking, but it's still not really very good for wheelchair users. Although if you have a mobility scooter with nice big thick chunky tyres, it would probably be fine. Now I'm actually in the Haughton Dale Nature Reserve, and I'm just walking down to the side of the River Tame, and I can hear the gush of the water coming over the way. I'm just getting closer now. You might be able to hear it just as I get close to it now. And it's quite a sight, actually. It's quite a beautiful sight. It looks as if Pepper wants to go in and have a swim, but it's quite rapidly flowing, so I don't want her to go down there. And it's a bit too steep to get in the water and get back out again anyway. So I've just crossed over the River Tame now and gone past the weir, and I'm now walking on the other side, which takes us into Denton, and Haughton Green is where we are now. And there's a nice surface here to walk on. It's still, again, it's not tarmacked anywhere down here, but it's quite a decent surface with lots of stones, so it's fairly passable. So this section of the path now meanders next to the River Tame. There are a couple of seating benches here, which is very useful and quite handy when the weather's nice for a quick sit down and a cup of tea if you brought your flask. There's a little pond here with lots and lots of frog spawn, and there's a little pier as well, which looks like it's meant for somebody to do some fishing. I'm not sure what they'd catch in here, but it's just a little pond just off the River Tame. You can probably hear a duck squawking in the distance there. I think Pepper's just tried to go in and catch it. Fortunately, she didn't manage to get it, so that's good news. And there's quite a few ducks in the bit of the river here. I'm just coming up to the second weir on the River Tame on this stretch here. So you can probably just hear it over in the distance there, all the water rushing over and crashing down at the bottom, and it's very pretty. It seems to have been a long miserable winter, but today I can honestly say it does look like spring has finally arrived. It's absolutely beautiful today, clear blue skies, and there seems to be a lot of walkers out as well on the Trans Pennine Trail, which is brilliant. Just seen 2 horse riders and had a quick chat with them. Morning. Morning. One of the disadvantages of a beautiful spring day is the advent of the midges. There seems to be absolutely thousands of them around. I'm coming down to the wooded area now, so it's a bit sheltered and a bit shaded, so yeah, there seems to be literally thousands of them. Somebody's nailed a little birdhouse there onto the side of a tree. I'm not sure how useful it will be, but at least the thought was there. Now I'm walking parallel to the river again, and just on my right hand side there, I've just taken a photograph. There's a very precariously balanced tree near a cliff edge, and you can see all the rocks hanging out underneath it, but it looks a bit dangerous, but it's far back from the path, so there shouldn't be any problems of it falling down. Morning. Hiya, morning. Definitely very busy today. I think it's got to be something to do with the beautiful weather we're having this morning. Yeah, as we go further down here, it's obvious that the river is starting to widen as all the little tributaries and culverts that join into it add up to the volume of water. And eventually, this River Tame merges with the River Goyt a bit further down, and then it forms the River Mersey, which then goes all the way down to Liverpool. So yeah, so it's quite an important network of rivers around here. And to be honest, it looks quite clean. There's a little bit of brown hue to it, but I think that's just basically because of the peat which comes down from the Pennines. But yeah, it looks pretty clear, and I'm hoping there's some fish in there as well. There does seem to be a couple of outposts made of wood, which look like it's definitely designed for fishermen. So yeah, I've not seen any so far, but I'm hoping in the deeper areas it might be suitable for fish. So I'm coming to the end of this section of the trail at Haughton Dale. Just approaching the main road, I can hear the cars just in the distance, so I'm going to get Pepper on her lead now. And the next section is going to be up the main road, which it is part of the TPT, and there is a cycle lane there, but it's obviously very busy. And I think so far I've done about 2 miles walking, and about a mile of that was through Haughton Dale. So this section is quite busy, and it runs from Haughton Dale Nature Reserve through a housing estate. So I'm just walking up there now, but it's a very busy road, so it can be a bit dangerous. You need to cross over as well. But there is a dedicated cycle lane, and there's a wide footpath on both sides as well, so that's quite useful. So this part of the trail comes through a housing estate in Haughton Green, and then it goes down to a narrow path and then onto another housing estate. So it's a little bit complicated, but the signposts are really well signed, so there's no problem if you did actually come this way. And the path is pretty good really, because it's obviously a housing estate. We've got pavements and tarmacked paths. Yeah, so I'm just walking up the section now between the two estates, and it's quite gravelly and muddy at the bottom, as you'd expect. So it's not very friendly for wheelchairs or any access. But cyclists are fine, and even horse riders should be fine. So coming through the other housing estate, there's 3 sharp left turns, but everything is really well signposted, as I said before, so it's virtually impossible to get lost when you come through here. So now I've gone past the estate and back onto farmland. There is actually a disused farm here, but just beyond that there's a working farm with massive fields and a few horses in the fields. And just in the distance now I can hear the motorway, so we're about to walk down part of the trail which takes you over the actual motorway. This path here is quite poor really. It has been allocated to be resurfaced, but I think there was no money available to do it. But yeah, it is quite bad. It's full of potholes and puddles, and I think as you get down the hill after we go over the motorway bridge it gets even worse, so it's not the very most accessible part of the TPT, unfortunately. So I'm just coming down to the section of the TPT that actually goes over the M66 motorway between Denton and Bredbury, Stockport. In the distance I can see the flats. There's 3 of them together at Stockport and then Werneth Low. I'll just do a full panorama and you can see what's going on. And I can just hear the noise of the motorway. So I'm just about to cross the motorway bridge, and as ever, this section of the M66 is extremely busy, especially in the mornings. It's massive queues, probably 2 mile tailbacks I think in the mornings, and at this time as well it's still quite busy, as you can probably hear from the noise. Well, this part was the bit that needs definitely resurfacing because it's very stony and there's lots of bricks and all sorts of things in here, and it's really bumpy. If you come down here on a bike, it's really bumpy and you have to take it really slow because it could give you a puncture. But yeah, it's passing some beautiful fields on either side with lots of grazing horses. After your food. Papa, come on. Go. So, as predicted earlier, there's swarms and swarms of midges everywhere. So I've had a couple of bites, I think, on my nose and on my forehead. But I've got all my hands covered with gloves, so everything else is not too bad. But yeah, I'm coming down the hill now towards Reddish Vale Country Park. And again, it's stunning scenery. I just think it helps when the weather's so good. And I'm glad I've picked such a nice day. I may have done that on purpose, actually. Every 20 metres or so there's channels that go across the track, which is obviously for drainage, and there is a flat part on the right hand side which obviously helps if you've got a bike. Just here there's a split in the path. There's a separate bridleway and a separate footpath. I'm going to try the footpath route, but it could be a big mistake because it could be quite muddy. We're about to find out. Fortunately, the footpath's not too bad, and although I don't think this is actually officially on the Trans Pennine Trail, it runs absolutely parallel to it, so it's just an alternative if you're a pedestrian. And there's a few points of interest down here as well, like Strines Weir, which is quite interesting. We are now officially in Reddish Vale Country Park, and again it's a very stunning scenery. And what stands out as one of the big landmarks is the viaduct that goes across. It's the train line from Manchester, and it's a massive viaduct made of brick. And it's lovely to see the daffodils and crocuses out. So now I'm just at the lake at Reddish Vale. And yeah, there's quite a lot of people around here, and certainly lots of ducks and geese. Pepper! Morning. Morning. And it's absolutely great to see so many people out on the Trans Pennine Trail enjoying walking and riding and cycling. So I'm glad I've seen so many people this morning. Yeah, so now I've made it to my destination, Reddish Vale Country Park Visitor Centre. Sounds like a really good place to have a brew. So thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next digital trail.